Okay, so our next subject is office procedures and HIPAA. In your medical assistant book, it is under chapter 8. Do you see the syllabus in front of you?
Yes.
So I recommend you every time before you start learning, studying, just take a look, scan the syllabus so you could know what is required for this week. So you need to read the chapter 8 or read the lectures that you have. Um, Complete the HIPAA study guide, complete the homework, and there are two procedure paper that you have. Even if you are working with packages taken from the school, please remember to take out the procedures from the package to keep it with you because you need to know. And you see here we have a spelling mistake, so it means oral medication. We need to delete. So one procedure is establishing, organizing, and maintaining a medical file, and the other one releasing medical record. Make sure that you know the steps by heart. After this, on Friday, you are required to submit exercises and homework. I know that the majority of you submits exercises, homework, and even tests after 2 days, we start the lecture. So you are welcome to submit any day. Just please make sure that it is before due date, and the due date for the test is Monday. And for new students, please know that we have Zoom every day from Tuesday to Friday. We don't have Zoom on Monday because Monday is our test day until the next holiday. So I want to tell you that HIPAA is one of the most important um, modules for medical assistant, because if you go to the American Medical Assistant website, and if you open the table, there is a special table chart that tells about medical assistant jobs and duties. The most important thing that you need to be competent, that you need to know is HIPAA. So you need to know what is HIPAA and what HIPAA wants from you, from your office to be compliant. It is crucial, it is very important. So during this module, you will know what is HIPAA. And please, after this, if I ask what HIPAA wants, you need to answer. If you don't want me to have a heart attack. So what is it? So during this week, you will know what is protected health information, PHI with HIPAA officer, and lots of other things. The Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act of 1996. So in 1996, a very important rule was established and HIPAA was created. So do you see the first letters of this title, HIPAA? So that's why we have HIPAA. It is the abbreviation for the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act. So what is it? It helps the patients uh, to have a right to request their information, to have their information, and to have a right of privacy. So it means that HIPAA provides consumers with access to healthcare insurance. They become insured, a protected privacy of data. It means no one can share their information, and it is standard, effective, and more easy to handle. And in any office, there is one HIPAA officer who is responsible for maintaining HIPAA rules. And you know that all offices, it doesn't matter, it is hospital division, it is primary physician office, or home health, or physical therapy office, they are having audits regularly, and Joint Commission comes and checks them. Everything, they check everything, and HIPAA violation also is checked. So after this lecture, please go to the page 157 in your book and read the box 8.1. So you are required to have the HIPAA form signed when the patient comes to your office for the first time. Do you see, at the first office visit? So when patient calls you, makes an appointment, what you need to do, we are going to talk about in office management after 3 weeks. But now you need to know what to do in the first visit when the patient comes. You have to remember, give the patient the HIPAA form. They sign, which tells that yes, I'm letting you to share my information with my caregiver, with my next of kin, with a neuro specialist. So if you are going to send me to a cardiologist, yes, I let you to share my lab work and other information with that cardiologist. That's why you need to have the signature on file. It is called signature on file. If you don't have this, you cannot send the information to other doctors. You cannot send the information to the insurance company so you can get paid. And you cannot share the information with caregiver of this patient. And also you need to document this if your office wants this. If the patient refuses to sign, you need to document this in patient medical record because you know, yes, the patient comes and goes. The patient can never come back, but the patient has right to sue your office for during 3 years. That's why you need to be protected, and your protection is documentation. Remember, document everything because you never know what will happen after 2 years. How the covered entity may use and disclose protected health information. So this is abbreviation protected health information about in the individuals. First of all, let's see who is covered entity. It can be the doctor, the insurance company, Medicare, Medical, Blue Shield, or anyone that required to follow the HIPAA's requirement. So they need to have the signature on file, and you can share the information only with those who is related to the patient case. So if, how to say, if Brad Pitt is your patient, you cannot take a picture and share with your co-workers, yes, or open the medical record and show your friends. This needs to be in the secret, the privacy needs to be kept, and it is very, very serious. So this is an example of HIPAA form, how the patient signs the paper. I don't want to go deep into this because each office has its own rules and its own papers. So medical record belongs to physician, information belongs to the patient. What does it mean? It means the papers and the files that are in your computer, which contain patient information, are doctors. They belong to the doctor. But as the information that is written inside belongs to the patient has right to obtain the copy. Remember, if the patient comes and asks you to give them their lab record, their appointment information, give only copy, never take out the original. Original goes only to court if a litigation process starts. Original always stays at your office. In some offices, requests should be made in writing and contain patient's original signature, but again, go to the office policy. If you know your patient for several years and they want their lab record, you don't have to tell, dear patient, so please sign here so I could give you your records. It depends on policy of the office. In some offices, they even bill. There is a small fee for giving their this copies, so you have to be compliant with your office policy. And after the lecture, go to the page 160 and read the article tip in your book. These parts are very important so you can make more clear the HIPAA forms. So doctor makes you to decision what to copy. And if your patient is under age of 17, parent, you need to obtain the parent signature, not the patient. So if it is patient under age of 17, there are several cases that you don't have to obtain the signature from the parent. They are signing their papers. What, for example, when when they came to your office to be treated for STD, for sexually transmitted diseases. They have right not to tell their parent about this. And if you bill their parent, you need to be attentive because you might not have right to tell the parent what you are taking the money for their kids. It is when it is about STDs, when it is about birth control, and if I'm not mistaken, also when they are giving a blood, when they donate a blood. So in these three cases, you don't have to have the parents' signature, I'm sorry. And parents still might be billed without knowing what he or she is paying. So proper authorization must follow certain guidelines, even with signed authorization release, and we will know what does it mean. It means when you are requesting an authorization for a procedure, yes, it means you are asking the insurance company, we are going to do this procedure. Will you pay for this? Can we do this? And what you do if the patient has mental illness, if the patient has HIV, if the patient has drug or alcohol abuse or sexually transmitted disease, you might be required to hide this information with white paper before sending a request for authorization. So there are special diseases that sometimes you might be required to keep it in a secret. So if it is not specifically requested by the patient, you place a blank white paper and you close this part. So never white out an original information. It doesn't matter, is it information about the disease or maybe you made a mistake. Remember, in a medical office, if you made a mistake, if you wrote, if you put patient right hand is broken, but actually it is left hand, you never white out, and if it is in computer, you never delete it. You draw a line on it and you put your name, your first letter of the first name, first letter of last name, and the date. So they know that it was you who made the error, it is you who is correcting, and you put the correct information. Any questions?
No.
It's a little bit confusing, a lot of information. So by this page, before this page, we learned that HIPAA is the protected health information. We have to be compliant with HIPAA, otherwise there will be high fines for our officers, even if it can get closed. We already know that you need to obtain the signature of the patient during the first visit, yes. You need to know that if your patient is under age of 17 and came to be treated for syphilis, for gonorrhea, for AIDS, you don't have to obtain the patient's signature. The parent's signature, the patient might need to be the information kept in a secret. And if you are requesting authorization for your patient who has certain diseases like mental illness, alcohol abuse, AIDS, you might be required to cover this with white paper so that insurance company doesn't get this information. Yes, but there is another requirement. So there are several things that even if the patient didn't sign the request, for authorization, for release. Even if the patient tells you, don't share my information, I will sue you, I will start a litigation, you have to disclose this information by law. So when you can share the information of the patient and when you have to share the information of the patient, even if the patient doesn't want, without patient permission. So when it is vital statistics, so in whole world, all countries, they collect vital statistics. How many people are born? How many people are died? What diseases are prevailing in the country? Yes, and every time you send this information, for example, you had today 10 patients, 2 of them with high blood pressure, 2 of them with diabetes, and so on. You have to report child and elderly abuse or maltreatment. But what is good here, you have to report to the doctor. Why I like medical assistant's job? Because it is less responsible by law. So if nurses, if doctors have to report to special instances, and if they don't report, they will be fined $1,000, $5,000. You will not be fined. So you don't have mandatory to report it to special instances. You cannot. You report it to the doctor. If you see that something is weird, you think that maybe the parent beats the kid, yes, or caregivers are abusing the elderly adult, you report this either to your supervisor or to the doctor. And you have to report this. If it is emergency circumstances, if it is an idea body of deceased person. So for if you are learning English, it is your not the first language, it is idea of dead body. Deceased means dead. And if they need to understand the cause of death. So in these cases, and if it is public health needs, if it is research, if it is a court request, or law enforcement or national defense and security, you have to report. Here we have some terms that you know from other modules. We don't have to go deeply. So we need to know what is chief complaint. And if you can remember and let me know what is the abbreviation for chief complaint, you will make me happy. So main reason for the visit to the medical office. So in order to have it clear, chief complaint. When patient calls your office, you ask them, what is the reason that you want to make an appointment? Yes? Or the patient comes to your office. Why are you here? What was bothering you? And if the patient tells, oh, I'm here because I cannot control my blood pressure, it is the patient's chief complaint. Yes, the main reason. You put their uncontrollable blood pressure or unstable blood pressure or headache. Every time, remember, you need to have a title, so-called, yes, chief complaint in the patient record, a reason for that visit. Do you remember what is the abbreviation for chief complaint?
CC.
Uppercase or lowercase?
Uppercase.
Correct, because lowercase is cubic
It's
centimeters,
cubic centimeter,
yes, or
yeah.
milliliter. Thank you. Present illness specific account of chief complaint. It means if the patient came with headache, you put there more information. Maybe it is in the morning, maybe it is in the evening, yes, maybe it is after the stress. So present illness gives more information about the chief complaints. And medical record organization, medical assistants, you are responsible for writing the information, either in electronic medical records or in the paper. So how we write this? At first, in the database, chief complaint, illness, patient profile, review of systems. It means about other organ systems, examinations, lab works, and so on. Then comes problem list, then treatment plan, and progress note. This is about other appointments with other doctors. So if you want to see how many mLs you need to inject your patient in this 1, 2, 3, 4, in which part you need to find the name of the medication and the quantity.
Treatment plan.
Correct. Okay, so clinical part. So it was about administrative part, yes, about patient privacy, about patient information. Now clinical part. ROS, review of systems, about other body systems. If the patient came with headache, you might be required to write the condition of the skin, the condition of the bones, the condition of what else? Of endocrine system and so on. So this is called review of systems. Correct, Karina? By the way, dear students, I want to tell that Karina is a very good example of a very attentive student. I'm very thankful that always you answer to my questions, but if your microphone is not working or you don't want to disturb the class, you can use the example of Karina every time she's writing the answers in the chat. And by this, I know that she's not sleeping, she is attentive, she is listening, and you know, yes, that you have 10 points that Zoom gives you for your weekly, as a weekly grade. So if you have a chance or write the answer, which will tell me that, hey, doctor, I'm very active. Don't forget to give my 10 points during my test, okay? So progress notes document patient encounters with whom the patient made an appointment, what was written there, prescription refills, and so on. Information about x-rays, other examination, lab results, so everything is written here. And advanced directives, we are going to talk about this in our loan ethics module. What is advanced directive? What is power of attorney? And so on. Electronic health records, this is the same but written in the system, in the computer, which is easier, faster. You can see it from other parts as well if you have the password. But you need to know how to follow the HIPAA rules if you have everything within the computer so that no one could hack and take, for example, your patient's social security information and use it and so on. It's very important to know how to be protected from being hacked. So remember that if you get any information, the most secure one is the fax. Emails, mails, they are considered as not as secure as sending information with fax. And if you get information through email, you might require to print it and put in the medical record and either backup of this information or delete. So no one could take this information. So patients should not have access to computer screen in exam room. If you have ever went to the doctor appointment, when you enter to the patient room as a patient, you remember medical assistant comes, they open the computer, put their password, they write what allergies do you have, what medications are you taking, your chief complaints, whatever information they possess. And before they leave the room, you remember they close everything so you could not access. And when doctor comes, the doctor opens with his or her password because the doctor has more access to your data than medical assistant. Remember that every time when you leave the room, you need to close everything so that the patient cannot come and look into the computer. So we have special orders, putting the patient information. It depends on physician preference. This doctor likes this way, another way, or it depends on office rules. So you can arrange in reverse chronological order or in chronological order. What does it mean? Do you see in reverse chronological order, item place with oldest first. So you take a folder and you put everything about the patient. Yes, the first visit, second visit, visit after 6 months. And if it is reverse chronological order, every new information you put at the bottom. So when you open, you see the very first visit. If it is chronological order, every time when you have information, you put on top. So you know that the first visit is at the bottom. Is it clear?
Yes.
So if patient came first time to your office in 2015 and patient came today, you open the file to see what was patient blood pressure in 2015, and it is reverse chronological order. Which paper is on the top? When you open the folder, which paper you see at first? It is reversed. We put the oldest first. Which paper you see when you open the file? You see
The oldest one.
correct. Good job. We have source-oriented and problem-oriented. It depends how you organize the papers, maybe with insurance or maybe with disease and so on. It depends on the office. So source-oriented, similar. Physician order, progress note. I don't want to go deep into it so I don't confuse you. And there are 3 types of documenting provider encounter. It means meeting with the doctor coming into your office. Narrative, which is old, we don't use it anymore. SOAP and POMR. So usually we use SOAP method. And let's go to see what do they mean. So it is not something that we wash our hands. Yes, let's see what are they. Narrative format, like we are telling a story from the oldest to the least structure. We write that patient came, we did this, we did that. SOAP format, which is the most using method nowadays. So SOAP means subjective, objective, assessment, and plan. And in your homework, you are required to do a SOAP format. Write in patient medical record the information about the patient with SOAP format. So what comes first? Subjective in SOAP format. Patient statement. You remember, symptom is subjective, sign is objective. It means S part, S, you write what the patient tells you. So the patient came our office complaining of headache, complaining of pain in the joints, complaining of nausea, this and that. Then comes objective part. You write observation of patient by you and by doctor. Yes, in objective you put vital signs, blood pressure, temperature, lab records, assessment. It means the first impression of the doctor. So what it could be, this, and this, give us information that it could be, let's see, stomach flu or IH, Helicobacter pylori infection. Yes, we need, and the plan, what we need to do. You write there the doctor's orders. So to go to the lab, to do the ultrasound or to go to the x-ray, and after this comes a treatment plan. So in order to have it more clear, after the lesson, go to page 166 and you will see there 2 ways of doing this in box 8 number 3. And in order not to have difficulties with your homework, let's stop the lecture for today and go and see what you are required to do in your homework with SOAP part. Do you see in front of you your homework?
Yes.
So at the last page, there is the need to document the patient information in SOAP method. So we need to, with this, imagine that you are a medical assistant in the office and you have a patient who came to your office, and after this, you need to document everything in SOAP method. Your office is using this method. So your patient name is Bob Layton, states that his father, Carlos, has dizziness. So the patient is the father. Yes, Carlos is patient and Layton is caregiver. He has unsteadiness on feet, fever, chills, cough for 2 days, and appetite is low and is sweating every day, even at night and during the day. So where you put this information? In S, O, A, or P? So you require, so this the Bob latent states. So this is subjective. Yes, this is caregiver information. It comes, you know, my father has dizziness, unsteadiness. Can you check it? Can you check patient's dizziness? No, you can see somehow unsteadiness on feet, but fever you can check. Yes, this is vital signs, but you have to document. So in subjective, you put patient states or patient complaints, yes, chief complaints or present illness, and you put here everything that you heard from the patient words in O. So Dr. Kramer notices that the patient is weak, pale, dehydrated, vital signs. You put here in objective, you put here the heartbeat 102, you put here clear breath sounds, you put here the color of the patient's skin, yes. In the assessment and in the plan, what we need to do, just we have 30 seconds. If it shuts off, please, my apologies, we will meet tomorrow. So she suspects viral infection of upper respiratory tract. It means the doctor thinks that there is viral infection of the trachea or bronchitis. So in assessment, we put that according to assessment, patient is weak,